This video shows experimental results on kinematic control of the industrial robot Comau Smart 3S. The manipulator has 6 revolute joints and is mounted on a sliding track, which provides an extra degree of mobility. The wrist is non-spherical since the outer 3 joints intersect 2 by 2. The joints are actuated by brushless motors via gear trains. Motor positions are measured by shaft absolute resolvers. Also, a force torque wrist sensor is used for force control experiments. The native controller is the C3G9000, a VME-based system. The robot in our lab is controlled by an open version of the controller, and a bus-to-bus communication link is established with the standard PC 486, where the user can implement algorithms as C modules. In the following experiments, kinematic control is performed where trajectory generation and inverse kinematics are executed on the PC at 2 millisecond sampling time, and then the joint references are input to the original PID joint servos. Initially, the prismatic joint is mechanically braked. The end effector orientation is required to track a trajectory so that the approach axis describes a conic surface. Notice that the end effector position is kept constant while executing the task, despite of the non-spherical wrist geometry. This is made possible thanks to the adoption of a closed-loop inverse kinematics algorithm based on the Jacobian pseudo-inverse. Next, the potential offered by kinematic redundancy is illustrated. A straight line motion and a change of orientation are commanded to the end effector throughout the workspace. In the first sequence, no constraint is imposed to utilize redundancy, and a wide displacement of the prismatic joint can be seen. On the other hand, in the second sequence, redundancy is solved by requiring that the prismatic joint keeps as close as possible to the middle of its total stroke while tracking the same end effector trajectory. This is achieved by projecting the constrained Jacobian transpose onto the null space of the manipulator Jacobian. Finally, the manipulator is placed at a kinematic singularity. The task consists of generating an internal motion of the structure which allows exiting from the singularity without changing the end effector pose. To this purpose, redundancy is exploited by imposing a desired vertical position for the second link. Notice that inverse kinematics is solved by resorting to a damped least squares technique, where the damping factor is adjusted on the basis of an estimate of the smallest singular value of the Jacobian.